Well, and from our perspective, you wish and you hope that you're going to, make it to an old age, and then you worry that these are the people who will eventually be deciding your care. And I said to my wife, and I looked at our three boys, and I'm like, we are in serious shit here because none of these children will show us any empathy. I'm going to be put in the worst nursing home possible. They'll probably take care of their mother to some degree, but she'll be neglected.
Well, they say that is one of the things about having girls versus boys. Did you want girls at all or no?
We did, but the genetic cards did not roll that way.
Well, I didn't get any boys. All I got was girls, man.
Want to trade?
Well, this was really weird. Guys, like every guy I taught, you want to trade? We should just swap one. That would be a really funny premise for a movie of like, we have three boys, he has three girls. Let's just switch one out.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're watching the Parents Lounge. And if you're not, you're a dadgum communist. Get her done.
We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents Lounge is the cure to staying sane.
Welcome to another edition of the Parents Lounge. This is Jamie's mustache, and he is joined, as always, by his partner in crime, Mr. Jason Gowan. Jason, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you, my friend. Happy birthday to you.
September 14th. Yeah, my birthday today. And it's funny, we are doing the show on my birthday because, your birthday now is a full-time job because you have to respond to the 2,000 people who text you and hit you on Facebook. And I mean, some of the people, I love it. Thank you all. I love that people take the time to wish someone a happy birthday, which I don't do as much as everybody else. But I feel like they just go down every day on their Facebook page and see whose birthday it is that day. Go, happy birthday, Jamie. Happy birthday. Because some of the people I'm like, who are you again? But I'm like, hey, thank you. I appreciate the happy birthday.
I do too. And mine was the 9th, so we both had birthdays this week. So this is our birthday.
This is officially our birthday show, which is why we didn't have any guests on today, because I thought we would do a little birthday show and shout out to each other.
Yeah.
Are you a big birthday guy?
I used to be, but it's weird. Since I've had kids, I've kind of just ended it.
I haven't celebrated really a birthday since my children were born.
Like my son, my oldest son, he really likes if we get the cake and they do a song, but that was kind of it.
Yeah, my kids, I mean, for an hour last night, I wasn't allowed anywhere near their room because they were making cards for daddy, in which I was like, all right.
Have you gotten them yet?
My mother was, I haven't had them yet. No, apparently we're celebrating tonight over dinner. I don't know. I'm in kind of I get in such a weird mood, I guess, around my birthday. I don't enjoy them anymore.
I noticed it yesterday. You were not your usual sunshiny disposition.
I told my wife, I was like, I'm also traveling. You what now?
Is it the mustache? Is the mustache dragging you down?
The mustache might be slowly taking over. How has there not been a horror film like? There's one where the guy's hand, he gets the dead guy's hand.
Idle hands, yeah.
Idle hands. And he has a serial killer's hands and the hands kind of take over. How has there not been a movie where a guy like gets a mustache and the mustache is like, like there's a spirit deeply entrenched within the mustache. And that mustache is crazy though, right? I don't know how long it's going to last because I've done a few auditions with it, and I thought for sure, like one of them, I was like, I gotta book this. It's like a former astronaut in the 1960s who's like,
Oh,
a big,
you're very
Right?
Buzz Aldrin. Yeah,
I kept it. That's why I kept the stash. And I filmed the audition. I memorized it for a few days. I really worked on it, and I sent it in. And I thought for sure the phone would just ring, and they go, "Holy cow! Greatest audition we've ever seen. Can you come in today, Jamie? The contracts are ready to sign." And radio silence. I haven't heard a word. So it's so
That
fun.
stinks. I mean, I like it, but I do suspect it's changing you.
It does. It affects me like at my kid's school where all the other parents are like, "Hey, what's up, creeper?" Like I'm the creepy guy in the neighborhood now. When I first met my wife, we were cross country dating into New York and LA, and she had a work conference in Florida. So I met her there, and she goes, "Hey, we'll go to Disney World." I go, "Great." And so at the time we were shooting an episode of My Boys, the first episode of the new season, and we all pitched a mustache growing contest. So we all came back with giant mustaches, and it was bigger than this and thicker, and it came down to like here, it was like a Wyatt Earp, huge mustache. And so my wife, she makes me my wife to be, we're only dating at the time, and we go to Disney World. And when we get there, I'm like, "Oh, we should go on these rides." And she goes, "I don't really like rides very much." Didn't like rides, and invited me to go to Disney World. And I was like, "What?" So I'm like, "I'm at Disney World." So I go on some of the rides by myself. And there I am on rides at Disney World with a giant Fu Manchu mustache by myself. And you know how sometimes they would go like, "Well, there's an extra spot. Does anybody want to take the spot?" No one would take it. Parents were like holding their children back of like, "No, we're good. We'll wait till the next ride." Because I look like I'll have to post a picture of it at some point.
Dude, our lives run so parallel. My wife also does not ride rides.
What is up with that?
I don't know. Like, what is the point of going to Disney World if you're not going to ride the rides?
There is no point.
So I went one time. There was a paranormal convention there. They did like a paranormal event, and then there were speakers. And when I was finished speaking, I'm like, I'm not staying around. I'm going to go ride rides. And I was by myself at the end of the day, and they let me ride Tower of Terror alone. It was just me on the ride. And he leans into me, he goes, "Yeah, I see you're here for that paranormal conference. I'm going to tell you something right before the door closes." And just as it starts to close, he goes, "This ride is actually haunted. I've seen them myself." And the door shuts.
That sounds like a great ride.
It was... I'll try and find the picture sometime, but it's super funny because it's just me and like all the other empty seats.
That's hilarious. I always like, I love when like rich people are like, "Oh, we have problems too." And I'm so over. I'm going to make a video about celebrities saying like, we have problems too. We're rich. I go, you have some problems, but those problems are self-induced. The rest of the problems that everyone on earth has, you don't have because you're filthy rich. And, I always wanted to be rich enough to like rent Disneyland. Like Michael Jackson rich, where he goes, like kids walk up to Disneyland and go, "It's closed for the day," because Michael Jackson rented it. Like I would love to be able to do that, to rent, during the pandemic, I didn't do it, but some of my friends, you could rent the whole theater and it was dirt cheap.
Oh yeah.
Because they were trying to get people to come in their own group to use the theater. And so you could rent a movie theater for like no money at all and provide people. And so people were like big spenders of like, "Here's $50. They took over the whole movie theater because the theaters were empty.
That's pretty funny.
I haven't gone to a movie since I haven't gone to see a movie at the theater 2 years, maybe March. No, a year and a half at least. But since before that March.
Okay, I just saw Shang-Chi.
I heard it was good.
I really enjoyed it. Visually, the special effects are fantastic.
That's what I heard. I heard it's fantastic. That's cool. Marvel just gets it, don't they?
They really, but I mean, they've been planning these movies for they're years ahead. They know exactly what they're going to do.
So crazy.
For like 10 years out. They just know.
Yeah. Who knew when that was Iron Man? Iron Man was the first one, right?
Yeah, right. Yep.
Changed everything.
It really did. Well, they didn't expect it to be a success, and then when it was, they're like, oh, well, we have all these other, B-level heroes. I would never call them B-level, but at the time they were.
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy, I'd never even heard of, and all of a sudden that was one of the better movies, I thought.
Honestly, and I was skeptical going into it because I was never a big fan of that book, but I really liked the movie.
The movie's fantastic. Oh, here's another text message. Hey, happy birthday, Jamie. All day. It's like a full-time job of like, oh, here's a... Oh, actually, that's not. That's an AT&T free message. August bill is paid. Thanks, Mr. Kaler. I guess I have my automatic billing is going well.
So happy birthday from yourself. You gifted yourself another
exactly.
cell phone service.
Since I've had kids, though, probably just like you, like birthdays just don't really mean. And then what happens is, I think that's why the depression is a little heavy, because nothing really happens. You know it's not going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. And then for the next few days after your birthday, you're like, all right, you know what? Next year, I'm going to blow it out. We're going to do something big for my birthday. And then next year comes, and it's the same cycle of like, this is my wife's jam for birthdays or any holiday. She's like, well, what do you want to do? You know what I want to do? I don't want to make any decisions. I just want you to set it up. That's it. She goes, well, I don't know what you want. You're really hard to shop for. I go, well, then I can't help you. It's super annoying to be like, I don't want to plan my own party.
I feel like Kate and Melissa are the same person.
Dude, talking to my buddies, every wife is the same person.
Is it just a
Pete Mulligan on again? Because she'd be like, absolutely. You're totally right.
Because every time we talk, like the similarities there, I mean, it's the same thing across the board.
Yeah, I think social media is almost guiding us all into our behavior patterns because we try to behave like every other parent.
We must assimilate.
I think, yeah, we're lemmings in a way. Dude, it's so funny too. So even last night, like the kids were like, she won't go to bed. Oh, we're working on your card, Dad. It's like whatever they can think of to stay awake. And then I'm not even tired. And then so this morning, every single day I have to take the kids to school. The morning is like punch in the face painful. It starts with like, let's go, get up. You got to eat, get dressed, get your book bag, brush your teeth, put your sunscreen on, do all the snacks, fill your water bottle and everything. And I'm trying to get them to do it. And it's like literally a 1 hour. It's like we're Mel Gibson cutting the cord to a bomb and the clock is ticking down. Tick, 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 tick. And they just don't care. They don't care. I feel like I'm verbal instructions on life just on a constant loop of looping of like, every conversation with my daughter is, I don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. No, I'm not. Ow. Like, it's just a steady stream of me saying, I'm telling you, probably shouldn't do this. And then she goes, no, I'm going to do this anyway. And then me dealing with the repercussions of whether it's an injury or me cleaning something or me rebuying something that gets broken. And then does she learn the lesson? No. A week later, she does the exact same thing. So.
Yeah, we are dealing with the same thing here. Jay suddenly, now that he's gone to school, thinks he's like a collegiate professor, and he knows everything. And he then, then cuts his hand open when he doesn't listen, and then somehow it's our fault that you didn't listen. We tried to tell you. Nope, okay. Didn't care. That's just how he is.
My daughter, I see her fake brushing her teeth, and it's I'm like, I've already yelled at her.
She's just pantomiming
it. The toothbrush is there. Like, it's just not even moving. And I'm like, I go, they're your teeth. What do I care? I can only do so much. And at the end of the day, you're going to have dentures when you're 25. I don't know what to tell you.
Now, are both girls that way or just one?
Just one. They in different ways, though. So Hannah, yesterday we were in the pool, and I got Hannah boogie board this weekend. We went to the beach and went boogie boarding. Pretty fun. And it was one of the good days. Taking her boogie boarding out in the ocean was pretty fun.
That's fun.
But she puts the boogie board. She wants to play with the boogie board in the pool, and I go, great, no problem. So I'm not even out there. My wife's out watching her. she is standing on the edge of the pool. She puts the boogie board in, and she goes to step onto the book. I mean, you see it coming a mile away. Everybody's like, "What are you doing?" My wife was like, I heard my wife scream from the backyard. I'm like, no! Of course, so she steps off the edge of the pool, steps onto the boogie board, and the boogie board, of course, goes whoosh. And she falls backwards where her head should Greg Louganis and hit the edge of the thing, which would kill her instantly. And she, I guess, just missed the edge of the pool and went in. And my wife was like shaking. My wife was in the house, just absolutely like, I almost just watched Hannah kill herself. I don't know if I'm going to get to the night. And then she opened a bottle of wine. She was like, she goes, I don't know what's wrong with that kid. I go, I know what's wrong with her. She's 8. That's what's wrong with her. She's 8 years old. She's an idiot. I mean,
yeah, they just try to kill themselves
all day. Try to kill themselves. I mean, at some point, you're like, yeah, maybe she needs to crack her. She needs a catastrophic injury to make her understand what catastrophic injuries feel like, I think, right?
Sometimes you don't want them to get hurt, but at the same time, you need them to learn the lesson. I get it.
You want them to be scared a little bit. Like we've talked about this before, like my kids won't listen to my wife. They don't do one thing she says. And then I told you they kind of do what I will say. And they said, because we're scared of you. I said, you should be. Because yes, you should be scared. Like kids need.
I don't even think I've heard your actual angry
religion's just a way of scaring kids into behaving. Same with Elf on the Shelf. It's really just a fear mechanism.
Yes, it's like the Krampus, the Krampus at Christmas time.
Yes, the Krampus.
We need to incorporate him more into our American.
Well, your boys don't seem like your boys are afraid of you at all.
The twins don't really, I mean, they don't grasp the whole fear thing yet. They're just not to that space. Jace, if I yell, and when I actually yell, he is afraid. But if my wife yells, he doesn't regard her at all. Like that is a joke to him, and he keeps right on doing whatever it is. But if she says, do you want me to get your father involved? Immediately he backs up. Because I will choke slam him and not think twice about it.
A full-on choke slam.
Yeah, I'll just grab him and just right under the couch. Yeah. You need to. Sometimes.
What did they do? What did they do for your birthday? Did they do anything?
We just did like a cake, and then we went out. So the nicest thing is that we went out just to lunch, and because Jace was at school, so that saves 1/3 of our headache. And we brought actual toys. I was like, just bring toys and let's see what happens. And the twins actually, during my birthday lunch, played with the toys and did not destroy. So I actually had one meal out where nothing bad happened. So it was probably the best birthday gift that they could give me. Is that ate a meal without incident.
Do you not just give them the iPad?
So the iPad with the twins, it will work with Jace. An iPad will work with Jace. But the twins are kind of just getting to that watch a movie kind of phase. So it won't hold them the way it holds Jace.
Yeah.
Like 2 years, we're going to be golden across the board with that. But right now, until they have that full, like they know that they can just watch that entertainment constantly, we're kind of in a weird field. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, that's funny. My kids, even they were a little young, we had like Frozen on there, which was like 93 minutes of pure quiet. It was great.
See, they'll watch Bluey, and sometimes if we put Bluey on, we'll get a half hour out of them.
My daughters are still watching Bluey. You just got to load up numerous Bluey episodes. That's it.
Yeah, well, we put the Disney Plus app right on the iPad, so now it's just click the season and let it go.
I love it. And then everyone looks at you kind of askew, like, who look at you, parent, trying, and you're like, fuck you, yeah.
Yes, I see you're letting your children on the iPad.
Even tonight, my wife wanted to go out. She's like, well, where should we go to dinner? I go, was it just you and I? And she goes, no, the kids will come. She goes, I guess we could get a babysitter. And I go, great. So then it's a $200 dinner because I go, I don't want to do that either. I was like, let's just order food. So I think we're just going to order food. Like, we have great neighbors and they have kids too. So if sometimes, you know, we'll go like, hey, well, why don't you drop the kids off for 2 hours while you guys go grab dinner, and we'll do that. But I'm not a big fan of, I don't know why. Maybe it's that crazy, I hate spending money.
Oh.
But to go out for like an expensive dinner, great. People calling me all day about my birthday. People calling me, it's not great to me to like spend $100 on a babysitter to go out for a couple hours just to get away from the kids for a few hours.
Wait,
I mean,
what are babysitters going for in Los Angeles? What do you pay for them?
Well,
If you don't mind
honestly,
me asking.
$20 or $25 an hour. I feel like that's criminal, right?
We pay 15.
You do.
We pay 15 an hour here.
Even though
And I understand from what we were told that from our babysitter is that we're a high-end babysitter. We're high-end parenting. Well, paying them.
it's always this weird thing of like, look, that's too much money. But, you know, for $5, what are you going to get? Some homeless dude just to, you know, sit by the refrigerator while your kids are there?
Maybe. I mean, it depends on how bad they've been that day.
I guess. For me, it's like, I mean, I go out and, you know, I go out to do shows or I have other stuff. So it's not like I'm trapped at home all the time. And, you know, I have the day off away from the kids when I'm doing stuff. So for me, it's like, I never want to spend that extra money. I don't know. Am I super cheap? I just am like.
No, I get it. Because
I'd rather just put them to bed.
Money across the board anyway. So like,
Right.
There's always money going out.
Well, if you go out to a nice dinner, you know, back in the day, you would do a dinner and a movie and a babysitter. You're like, that's like a $300 night. You know, like, was that night worth $300? I'm like, no, I'll do it for like special occasions if there's a screening or something I'm going to. But
Right.
other than that, just to go out to like dinner, I'd rather drag them along and put them on an iPad.
Right. Tacoma FD, the new season premieres this week, right?
Yeah, and tonight those guys are on. They're on Jimmy Kimmel tonight, Lemmy and Heffernan, and they're having their virtual premiere. And apparently, Foreigner is playing. Is a band playing on the for the virtual premiere. Yeah, I guess.
So how does the
I've been
virtual
told
premiere
it's
work?
not even. It's like not Lou Graham. It's just I don't know if there's one original member in the band.
So they're just using the name Foreigner?
I guess it's like a Foreigner cover band. I don't know. I don't know what the kids. It's crazy, man. Every day I'm dealing. It's overwhelming. Yesterday I do get like that around my birthday where I just kind of like, what am I doing? Don't you do that? Where it's like it's almost like you start to, you know, think about what you've done and where you are. And you're like, it's my birth. It's like almost where somebody comes in for your annual review and go, well, Jamie, let's see what happened. How did last year go with you? Yeah, could have done better there. This one fell apart. Oh, you have an album coming out. So I guess you got something accomplished.
And we have a live show. We started this show this year. So
That's
we do
right.
have some,
It's been a good year. I know. I mean, the mustache is coming in sweet, you know. So
yeah. Although I think it's taken over. I'm not convinced it's not. You're slowly turning into Sam Elliott.
I'd like to be Sam. I wish I had his career, man.
And he's been trucking a long time.
That dude's he's a beef. It's what makes it, beef is good. I guess we'll see. I don't know. So I'm leaving. Yeah, I got gigs in Manchester, New Hampshire this weekend. I'm at the Rex Theater in Manchester, New Hampshire, and then I'm at the Comedy Scene at Patriot Place on Saturday this weekend.
And that's your hometown area, right?
I'm going home, man. I'm from Hooksett, New Hampshire, and I'm going back to do a show in Manchester, which is going to be it's going to be super fun. There's a lot of people from my high school coming out. So that's
fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be super funny. And also without the kids, it's just going to be fantastic. But I am going to drive around my hometown, which I haven't been back much. I've been on the West Coast so much that I haven't really been back. And my family doesn't live there anymore, so I never go back to New Hampshire. And I kind of literally only booked the gig so that I used it as an excuse to go home and see my hometown.
That's pretty cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. How long has it been since you've been back?
I mean, years. Literally years. Numerous years, probably. At least 5 or 6 years, maybe.
I had left my hometown. I wasn't living here. I was living in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I came back to visit. and I was set up with Melissa on a blind date and never made it back.
But you really screwed yourself over, man. West Palm's pretty nice.
So much, yes. So
What was life in Florida without kids?
Oh, so pre-Melissa, I had a Latin flair in women that I was chasing, and they run aplenty like the salmon of Capistrano there, my friend. And so it was the greatest time. And I was working as for like a Homeland Security type deal where my job was to drive around and make sure that security guards were doing their jobs. And that was my job, to drive around and make sure they were doing what they were supposed to be doing.
It's pretty good
So
job.
I got to like do stakeouts and stuff where I would make sure that they were doing their job. So I'd hide and I'd watch them. So I basically was like a spy. And so then I would turn them in if they weren't doing their job, or I would write them up. And then I would, on the days I was off, I would go out and I would just go lady hunting.
Yeah, I don't know if you can say terms like that anymore, man. That comes
Can
off.
you?
No, I think lady hunting is not a appropriate term anymore,
What
especially
should
as
I
a
be
father of
using?
2 daughters. I would say, no, you can't hunt ladies. That's not. Back in the
What should
day,
I
I
be
believe
using?
lady hunting was like,
I've been out of the game a long time. So
I think
like,
you
I'm
have.
using-
Now I think you have to, there's a lot of consent involved. You have to swipe right. There's all kinds of, you can't just hunt. I don't
Well,
think-
everything was consensual.
I know. Well, listen, I get that. But I think the word hunt, honestly, you might be canceled after this show. I feel like.
It's fair. We knew it was coming.
I mean, everything's terminology now, but yeah. It's not.
What should I be using instead of lady hunting?
I do love, by the way, that should be a movie, Lady Hunt, right? Lady Hunt. It's like Lady Hawk, the sequel to Lady Hawk with Matthew Broderick, where it's Lady Hunt now, and maybe the ladies are the ones hunting.
There definitely was a lot of that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cougar action going on there.
Was that a fantasy when you were younger, like the Amazonian? Wasn't there? There's movies where like guys crash, they crash land on an island, and it's only women, like Amazon
yes.
women, like 6
Yeah.
foot tall, blonde, Brigitte Nielsen women, and then
Is Island of the Amazons?
something like that. I kind of remember seeing something like that as a kid, and I know you should be terrified. Really, it should be scary. Like, this is a scary thing. But I think guys are so messed up in their head that they were turned on by it, and like, actually, that sounds pretty great.
Well, I remember there was a Futurama episode of the show where they parodied that whole movie where they get taken by these giant Amazon women.
And do they like it, or they?
Oh, they loved it. It was
That's fantastic.
fantastic until
Yeah.
it turned, scary for them. But I hate
I
to tell them,
mean-
no matter what, whether they were Amazons or just, regular everyday housewives, the fear induction comes.
Yeah, it starts off like dating, where it's just super great and fun and cocktails and sex and walks in the park, and then all of a sudden it reaches a point where it's like, no, it's over. Fun's over.
Yeah.
And once the kids get involved, then it's just.
You know what I loved about West Palm Beach was that like there was always something going on. Like here, our show is like the biggest thing going.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was news. It was newsworthy. It was on the news and all this other things. In West Palm Beach, like there's always just something going on. It was fantastic.
Dude, I did that improv many times back when I was touring before kids. I did the West
Down
Palm
in
Beach
City
improv. Yeah. And I also did the better one was the Hollywood one where Anna Nicole Smith died, that hotel. It's like a giant
down
casino.
in just
It's
south
in,
of Deerfield.
right outside Fort Lauderdale. It's in Hollywood, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the pool scene was amazing. So you would go and then do the show and then like tear it up all night long. And then like the next night you could barely get on the stage or so hungover. And there was gambling all night. It was nuts. So when Anna Nicole died, for those of you who don't know, Anna Nicole Smith was a former Playmate, and I think she ODs something. It's a mess. In that hotel, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And then I was like, "Oh, I've been in that hotel." No, actually, that's I'm surprised more people don't do that there.
Right? Yeah, and maybe they do, but she was a little high profile.
Florida, dude. Yeah, my family lived there, and it's like if I didn't have kids, I could totally see living there. Because everything's a beach bar. Like everyone's at the beach bar at like 2 p.m. There's no responsibility, no rhyme, no reason. People it's like they have a little bit of a day job just to afford their social life, right? And
Yes,
I kind
that
of
is correct. That's exactly what I was doing. Every
It's
extra
pretty
dollar
great.
I
I know. Like if I didn't have kids, I thought about this recently. If I didn't have kids, like I would, like the movie Cocktail, I would be like Brian Brown without the suicide on the boat part. But I would be the guy who was like just setting up bars. I'd work in the islands. I could totally see like being a bartender in Maui and just working my shifts. You know, I don't know. Is that a bad life? Is that? I guess people would.
No,
look at
I
it and go,
was.
"It's just
If,
so
if I
meaningless."
wasn't. Look, I got bamboozled. I was set up on this blind date, and then now here I am. But I was living the good life, my friend.
We all were. Well, I talked about this to the other guy the other night, and it was like, the problem is, he goes, it's so pointless. And I go, but who cares? I guess. Now looking back, it's like, what is wrong with being pointless and having a pointless existence if it's just narcissism and pure fun?
I can tell you what. Now people, if I wear a Loki hat out, people think I'm doing it for my kids or that I should be committed. Before, I used it to peacock, and it was always a conversation piece at a bar.
As a parent, you can get away with acting like an idiot more so. Like if you're just a here's the problem. It's an age thing. All of a sudden, if you're in your 50s and you don't have any kids, and
you can't go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, this place is like, I remember being like, my friends would I was like, they go, oh, come to the playground. I go, I'm not going near a playground.
Who is going to the playground?
Like I'd have a friend with kids. He'd go, come to the playground. I go, I'm not going to the playground.
Yeah, you have to have kids to go to the playground.
This is totally true story. And actually, it was one of the last times I went back to New Hampshire, and I was in my early 40s, and so I saw my grammar, not my grammar school, my middle school, 7th and 8th grade, Hooks Memorial Junior High. And so I was like, the soccer fields were up in the back. So I drove up behind it. I'm in my rental car. It was fall. I had like a leather jacket on, like sunglasses. And I get out of the car and I'm just kind of looking at the soccer field in behind my junior high school. And this teacher comes running out and she's like, what are you doing here? And I said, no, I went to school here. She's like, you can't be here. And I was like, no, I'm not a predator. But I was like on school grounds. I'm lucky I didn't get arrested. Like
you can't do that now.
I'm not married. I didn't have kids. I was like, I went to school here like 30 years ago. And I just I'm in town and I just kind of came back, and they were like, she was like on the speed dial to call the cops. And I learned a valuable lesson about life. And that is single guys in rental cars can't really cruise around the back of schools. So, yeah.
No, you should have just got a shady van and had some candy.
That's what I should have been. Like just a panel van and just driving to the back. And she's like, what's happening? I was just checking out the soccer field here. Is this where the kids mostly play the sports? Is this is it right here? So you're like, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm just, nothing. Just wanted to, from the area. Just wanted to kind of check it out and see what, with a mustache too. Oh my God, I'd be serious. They'd be like Amber. There'd be a statewide Amber Alert. What's happening? No, I grew up around here. I just wanted to say hi to some of the, talk to some of the kids if that was possible. In my panel van, I just brought some snacks for everybody, some orange slices. It's not gonna be a problem.
Oh man, yeah, you've just got this little like cooler full of flavorful treats. You're like, yeah, I got some.
Yeah, you want a Capri Sun? Anybody want a nice, delicious Capri Sun? I'm going to have a little vodka if you wanted to add it, but I'm not telling you should do it, but I'm just saying if there's some there. Brought some wine coolers, some bottles and James, and just if you wanted to enjoy it, might enjoy it.
You want to try out this juice box and you just toss him a White Claw?
Dude, I miss the whole To Catch a Predator thing. Like I did. I don't really love reality television, but I would enjoy when that dude would jump out and go, what are you doing? How's it going? And the guy was like, oh, hey. He goes, what do you got in the bag? And he goes, oh, nothing. I just have some wine coolers and some condoms. And he's like, I always, wherever I go, I like to bring, some mango wine coolers, and just condoms are always just for safety's sake. It's not really.
I mean, you never know when they're going to come in handy.
Oh no, it's not for sex. I was gonna have a water balloon fight, and I couldn't find any balloons on sale, so I bought some Magnum condoms and the wine coolers, and a Polaroid
the door
camera.
handles here are really dirty, so I just slip them over my hand. I use them to open the doors.
He's got a Polaroid camera. He's like trying to dry it off. I'm like, what's happening, dude? Actually, at one of the high schools near us recently, there was a guy who just got busted for child molestation. I'm like, I mean, in this day and age, these guys can't control their urges because they know they're going to get caught. You can't.
They have to know.
How do you not, dude? There's
Here's
video
the thing.
cameras everywhere. I had a friend who was he was a substitute teacher for a long time, and he was trying to act, and he was substitute teaching as his day job. And I talked to him about it. He said, "Man, I never ever am alone in a room with a child, with a student, ever. The doors are open. If the doors are open and I'm in the room and some kid walks into the room, I go, oh, back up, get out. And then he would walk out into the hallway. He's like, because the problem is the kid comes in, the door shuts. The kid wants a better grade. And the kid goes, F you, Mr. So-and-so, touched my fanny parts or something. And you can't, what are you going to do? Go, the kid's lying because you're never going to win that argument.
Right. Yeah, and you never will. Well, no, you don't know what's a kind of a big thing now, and I don't know if you've seen this, is that they have those groups out there that have YouTube channels, and they make the bait chats on social media, and they pretend to be young kids, and they steal underage pictures from like Instagram and whatnot, and they bait them in, and then they'll say, hey, meet me at this hotel, and then the bait patrol's there, and they film it, and they release the footage, and that just happened to a firefighter here in our town, and they put it out on YouTube and just blasted him, and it was oh man, it got intense. It was intense, but I mean,
did the guy get fired?
Yes, I believe so.
And any criminal
like
charges?
Immediately. I didn't
To Catch a Predator did that. That's what they did. To Catch a Predator
it's basically that show, but it's all freelance, and there are all these groups now that are taking it to like a street level. And it's like it's a phenomenon. Like it's out there, and it's out there in a big way.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't
either.
know. I think some people would have a problem with like, oh, that's entrapment or whatever. But I mean, if we're entrapping you into child endangerment, then yeah, you would have done it anyway.
Yeah, my problem is I don't like, the only thing about it I don't like is them taking kids' pictures off Instagram and stuff and using them.
Right.
Like that part I don't like.
Because that's bad. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because like having kids of my own, that part, but like if they're just chatting and pretending to be that person and that person is stupid enough to go.
I mean, does anybody... Even when I'm talking to, like, we've joked that you and I have never met, and then we're like, oh, we being catfished. I mean, you're always kind of wary of anything online. If you're not wary of everything online, then you're insane, because I don't know what my kids are going to do. I mean, it's just that you can't trust anybody anymore.
No, not at all. And there are people that like, even like people that I've gone, like that I like only kind of know. And if I remember them from high school and what they were like then, even then I'm like, I don't really want that person talking to my kids.
Oh, dude, one of the kids' friends' parents were like, hey, they reached out. There was an invite for Hannah to be able to communicate with her kid on Facebook Messenger, right? Where they could FaceTime them. Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, have Hannah join. I said, Hannah's 7, man. I'm not having Hannah. They can talk online. I go, yeah, no. Are you fucking high? What is wrong with you? Why would you let your kid... I go, my kid's not doing that online. She'll either talk to your kid in person or she's not talking to your kids. And besides, there's nothing they need to talk about when they're not together. It's not like, oh, I forgot to tell my buddy this thing. And
the only time we have let Jace have an online chat date was during the pandemic when he couldn't see anybody. And like his little best friend, we would let her and him chat.
We've
And-
done that. I FaceTime them and Zoom them with my own thing. But
Right.
this was an actual like Facebook Messenger app for kids. It's
no,
very
that's
specifically
too
designed.
shady to me.
It's designed for kids, and it's like for
No.
kids under 13, and it's very monitored. And I'm like, fuck you. No way. No way, dude. I go
No.
there right now. People are like hacking into people's home camera systems.
And talking to the kids, I've heard about that.
Right? And they're talking to the kids in their own rooms. You're like, dude. I mean, eventually people have to get off. You have to have these things that are not linkable to the internet.
Yes.
Everything shouldn't be linked to the internet. Like power grids. Like the Eastern Seaboard power grid should probably not be on the internet.
No.
But it is. Everything's reachable. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really only going to take one serious EMP to just drop us.
Oh, it's coming. Actually, we had our school, we had to fill out cards, like hard cards that are like the emergency information for the kids.
Same for us, yeah.
And I knew it immediately. And other people were like, well, can we just fill it out online? And the principal actually said, she goes, yeah, after the next giant emergency, there is no online. We're not going to have computer access. Whether it's an EMP or whether it's an earthquake or something, it's going to be down. Internet will be down, and then they need hard cards. I miss the whole Dewey Decimal System thing of like, I mean, it's like, obviously the internet, it's pretty great to go Google, how tall is Reese Witherspoon? It's pretty great to do that. But, what is the cost that we're all connected? I don't know.
Yeah, it's, I do miss that simpler time. Also, Reese Witherspoon is 5'1".
She's 5'1". Yeah, I know. Just if Reese is watching, just we know how short you are now. That's short.
She's smaller than me. I'm 5'5". Wait, how tall are you?
6'1".
Wait, there's a stark contrast.
Oh, there's gonna be a stark contrast. It's gonna be super funny. Yeah. What else about it's birthday week, man? Did you get any good presents? I haven't gotten any presents yet. I think they're. Oh, my wife. Oh, I don't even know if I can say this. My wife. So she, the other day she goes, hey, just so you know, for my birthday, I'm buying myself a necklace. And I was like, okay. And then she told me how much it was. And I was shocked. I don't want to say how much it was, but it was not cheap, super expensive, whatever expensive means to anybody out there. It's obviously a gradient. But to me, I was like, this is super expensive. But you did just hear a few minutes ago that I was also the guy who didn't want to pay $100 to babysit her so I could go out to dinner. So everything's expensive, but it was like super expensive. And so she bought herself, and I said, that's fine, whatever. I said, as long, but every other day she says, I want to quit. We should move back home to the East Coast. We should do this. And then the next day she's like, oh, I bought a necklace. And I said, you can't have both worlds. And it's fine if you bought the necklace. I get it. It's happy birthday. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not a big jewelry guy, but I get it. And then two nights ago, she goes, hey, just so you know, I didn't get you anything for your birthday. I didn't have any time. And I said, that's so weird. You had time to buy yourself a necklace. And she goes, don't give me grief about the necklace anymore. And that was invariably became a fight of like, because she doesn't buy me a present, because she doesn't have time, she doesn't have the want or whatever, and she doesn't get me anything. And then that's how our birthdays always go. Like we used to before the kids, but since kids, parents are like, look, let's move on.
I mean, I took my wife shopping to get new clothes. She wanted new clothes. She hadn't gotten them, since pre-pandemic, and she wanted some new stuff.
Yeah.
So I took her shopping. I got nothing.
Thank God, because I thought I was alone in the world. Where I just literally get zero for my birthday. It's almost assumed like, nah, he doesn't need. That's the other thing she always says. She says you're tough to buy for because there's nothing you want. And I said, that's true. She goes, if you ever want anything, you just go buy it. And I go, I do. So, but the trick is for you to find something that you think I would like that, and don't just pick a sweater out. That's my biggest gripe.
Yeah, I don't want
shirt.
a present that's phoned in.
Yeah, I don't want a present that's phoned in. But if you go out of your way, like last year, they got me. There was a whiskey glass with my daughter's name engraved, which is basically says, "We know you're an alcoholic, and here's a gift from the kid." It was like when we were kids. I made my dad an ashtray at school.
Oh man, you can't do that now.
No, you can't do that anymore. So I don't know if I'm getting anything, but I don't know. I rarely get anything, but I don't really. I don't care. But I guess I
don't either.
I guess
I'm always a little hurt. Like I'm always like, oh, again.
I walk through the door of like, is there a part? There's no party. All right, I didn't expect one, but it would have been nice to be surprised. I guess, or for once in my life, it would be nice to be surprised with like a crazy birthday thing.
I did this thing this year where, as we were going to bed that night, I was like, is my present in the bathroom waiting for me when I get into my jammy jams? I did. Is that where the present is? Because I know you didn't not get me anything at all.
Anything. Absolutely nothing.
And my wife, she goes, please don't do what you're about to do. And then of course I turn it into a major performance where I'm like, is it in the shower? And I open the shower curtain. I'm like, it's not here. Is it in the pantry? Let me go check. And I went on for like 15 minutes with this thing. And then I just did this horrible sob thing, and she's like, I hate you. And I was like,
funny.
This all could have been avoided had you made some kind of effort.
That's a funny bit, man. That'd be a funny bit. Yeah, about the birthday. That's funny. It is crazy. I mean, we just don't do once the kids. I mean, my friends are doing every year. I say, all right, this year I'm going to do a big birthday thing and go on like a golf trip or something. And I usually play golf on my birthday. I didn't even play golf today. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
I haven't golfed in so long. I would love to go again.
Yeah, when you play seldom, though, it's just more painful because you play poorly because you don't, my friend who doesn't have any kids is like a 4 handicap, and he's like, I play like 3 or 4 times a week. He hits a couple buckets every week. You're like, yeah, he practices. I go out once in a blue moon. The last time I played, I like hit a car off the course on the road as it came flying down. I'm like, oh shit, did I just kill somebody? I hit a tee shot and it went, woo! And then you're like, everyone's like listening for a windshield. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I'm not a great golfer. It's weird because like my family, I come from a long line of like on my mom's side of like pro golfers. My grandma was like club champion at like 3 different country clubs. And she was a monster on the thing. And I get it. And like, I'm okay at like a putt. Like I could probably hang at a putt. Okay. But I'm on an actual, like a fairway. I'm a menace to society.
Let's go play the Saturday during the shows. We'll go.
We could. There are courses we're nearby.
Yeah, we'll get some clubs going and stuff. So,
is Kate ready for you to go?
No. Oh my God, dude, that was the other thing. She's always like, "You go find some work," and then I book gigs and I'm away, and she's like, "Really? That's the week you're going away?" So I was supposed to fly back late Sunday night this weekend, and it's been a whole rigmarole. We have no childcare. Like the woman who was helping us with the kids can't help us anymore. Something's happened with her family, and now she has to stay there, and so she's not helping us. So we really don't have any help. And so my wife was like, I'm not going to make it through the weekend. And so she has a big day Monday for her job. And so I said, all right, you know what? I'll move my flight. So I moved the flight back. So now I do the show Saturday night, and then I fly at 6 o'clock in the morning the next morning. I know. So I'm going to be literally on fumes. I'm going to do the show. I have a couple friends coming to the show. I'll probably hang for a little bit after and then get like 3 hours of sleep. And I'll have to go to the airport at like 3:30 in the morning to fly back here. I'll sleep on the plane.
And then you leave like 4 days later to come here.
I told my wife, I sent her the change in flight and I said, happy birthday. This is your present. And she was not enthused about it at all.
Do you pick at her the way I do Melissa just to see what happens?
I mean, I have a biting, sarcastic tone about everything I say.
I hadn't noticed.
So especially when she goes, I wanted to get you something, but I didn't have time. And I said, well, yeah, it's funny. You had time to buy yourself that necklace. And she was like, it's like a trigger effect. It's just the anger. Yeah. Don't get me grief about that.
My wife will never. She just always just does this, and she got it from me because she always just puts her head down and goes, "No, I hate you."
I mean, yeah, I get it.
But she's stuck with me because I'll clean her out in child support if she leaves.
Yeah, take advantage of that, man. Take advantage of that child.
Speaking of advice for child, should we check in with our good buddy Bill Engvall?
I thought the same thing, man. It's about time. The beauty of having Bill's been so great. By the way, watch his show Blue Collar Auction that's coming out. But Bill Engvall is a grandfather now, and he has some very wonderful words of wisdom. So let's hear what he has to say.
All right, so our first question, Bill, is from Debbie G. from Cheltenham, PA. And she writes, my son just started his first week of kindergarten, and he says that some of the kids at school are bullying him on the playground. What should I tell him to do to handle it?
Okay, well, first off, Deb, he's only been there a week. And it's been a while since I had a kid that was in kindergarten, but I believe the age is 4 to 5 years old. I wouldn't worry too much about this. If it'd be different if it was junior high or high school or something, but I don't really know how much bullying a kindergarten kid can do, other than, like make noise during nap time, just,
Yeah.
I don't, and if it's a problem, but if it, listen, I don't want to poo-poo your problem, but A, I wouldn't worry about it, but B, if it really seems like it's affecting him, go talk to the teacher. Because it's hard to tell a kindergarten kid, hey, stand up for yourself and pop the kid in the mouth, which is what my old man would have said.
Right.
But, I don't want to advocate that. But I would just say, speak with the teacher, to kind of keep an eye on it. You also don't want your kid to be known as the snitch of kindergarten, because then people
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah, they're taking his nap time blanket. They're, who knows what 5-year-olds, those kids are crazy at 5.
Now, Bill, sometimes, sometimes kids that are bullied go on, because of being bullied, they go on to achieve unbelievable things in their lifetime. So maybe in some ways, if the child's bullied, it will actually accelerate their success path.
Either that or he'll take care of it himself. It's but I agree with you, Jamie. Listen, I think we all were bullied at some point. I don't remember necessarily being bullied in kindergarten.
Jamie bullies me weekly.
Yeah. And
Yeah, but
he's getting better. His skills are improving because I bully him constantly.
yeah, but he's not taking your jujubes. He's just
True.
So Deb, I think the answer is you're going to be fine. But if you really feel like it's an issue, speak with the teacher.
And then there's always, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which I think is a strong skill set for a kid. Because that way, even if you're the smaller kid, you can get in there, grapple and then choke them out. And so, if anything, I would say Brazilian jiu-jitsu is the answer.
Yeah, there's nothing scarier than a kindergarten that knows the chokeout move.
That's exactly right. That kid's gonna move. He's gonna go on to great things.
Yeah. Fantastic advice, man. That guy knows everything.
He almost knows too much in a weird way. He just keeps it simple, man. That's the beauty of it.
He's like a wise sage. I'm so glad he's going to be coming on regularly to dispense this advice to us.
Yeah. It is funny too, because God, even with kids, I was talking to my buddy the other day, and it's like, my kids won't listen to me, but they'll listen to another parent. We should almost cross-parent with other families so that kids will listen to the other. And my wife's the same. I told you that. I always will say stuff to my wife because I've been on Earth a long time and I know pretty much everything. Oh my God, today even she was reading me something. She goes, you're not going to believe what my sister wrote to me or something. And so she told me the first half of the text, and I didn't see anything. And I said, your sister said this. And I said exactly what her sister would have said. And she goes, how did you know that? And she read it off. And I said, because I wish I didn't know everything, but I kind of do. I know human nature so well. And so I knew exactly what her sister would say. And she was shocked. In the same way that I tell my wife all the time, I go, well, this is going to happen. And then this person is this. And so if I were you, I'd kind of play it this way or whatever. and she won't listen to a word I say. And then she'll come home and she'll say, I was talking to my friend and she said this. And I said, you mean exactly what I literally told you yesterday? And she's like, did you say that? And I said, yeah. She just has it's like a hearing aid where she turns it off when I'm speaking.
Yeah, it's a selective hearing. My wife also suffers from it. I think it's a pandemic.
It's selective hearing that's the phrase. That's total. That should be a t-shirt. I have selective hearing. What?
We need to slap that on the merch page.
You got to get that on the merch thing going. Yeah. And actually we got to start linking it because everyone was asking about, because I've been posting clips from my special and I wore the t-shirt that said, ask your mom. And people have already been like, hey, where can I get that t-shirt? And of course we do have it. So we'll have to put a link on this that puts the link to our merch shop with the Parents Lounge and the other stuff. So
yeah, it's going to be, we have wine glasses and scotch glasses that are going to be available at the live show too. That our Parents Lounge.
We're going to have some toasts. That's going to be a fun. I think that's going to be a good thing for all of our future live shows is to. I did a show the other night, and it wasn't an AA show, but it was outdoors and there was no alcohol being served, and everyone was sober. And I was like, this is a weird way to do comedy.
See, I intentionally made it so that there's a beverage center and a winery coming to our show because I think we're 10 times funnier when people have been drunk a little bit. Everybody is.
It's funny too. God, I do know a lot of people who don't drink at all, and I applaud that. If you don't want to drink, I'm totally for that.
No, it's totally a choice.
Yeah, I totally am getting that, but it bothers me when people preach the opposite way and go like, they don't want other people to drink. Is that bad of me?
Wait, when they don't want other people to drink?
Some people don't think it was like if you lived in the 1920s when Prohibition was around, where people who were teetotalers were like, alcohol is evil. No one should drink alcohol.
I know some people.
It lasted for 4 years. They won it for 4 years before people were like, this is insane. I think the same way about pot, about it should be legal nationwide. Obviously, I don't think heroin should be legal. I don't think fentanyl should be legal or cocaine or anything. But I do think marijuana and I think alcohol should be legalized and make tons of money off it. It was like obviously I drank like an animal when I was younger. But I think as you get older, if you just get better at it. So all the people who are coming to our shows,
it's an art form. I consider it an art form.
It is an art form. Don't drink and drive. I think that's the other good thing about having kids is that I probably drink more nights now, but I drink less. I drink less alcohol than I did when I used to. When I used to go out with friends on a Friday, you go out at 9 p.m. You're out till 2 a.m. That's 5 hours of drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and when I'm home, it's like a glass of wine, and that's it. And then I'll go to bed.
I drink during this show weekly.
I know I'm not drinking.
And I drink every other day as well. And then it was funny the other day. I had a really hard day with the kids. They were just.
You mean harder than normal?
It was a rough day. They went full on gremlin. Like they were just nuts. And I had enough. So I went to the and if the Valley Beverage Center here even sees me come in, they already know that I am broken down. And I got the stuff I wanted. I went back to the car, and the guy before he leaves, he goes, "Do you want me to get your next order ready for 7:00 when you come back for your second round?" And I was like, "Yeah, you might as well."
You better. I think you better. I don't know.
I just have to Uber into that one.
The grocery stores near me, if you buy one bottle of wine, it's whatever the cost is. If you buy 6 bottles, they take 30% off. Do you have that where you are? So they make you buy it 6 at a time. So we always, I'll go we just want a bottle of wine, but I'll go well, I got to buy 6. And then after we drink the first one, 2 days later, we're like, well, we have we have another one.
They're there. They're in shop.
So they're making us buy it in 6 for purely economic reasons, which is another reason why people who are filthy rich don't have the problems that we do. They don't have to buy wine 6 at a time. They can just buy 1 bottle at a time like normal people.
or they have a wine cellar and they just stock it all up.
They have their butler do it.
I wish I had a butler, but I'm the butler in this house.
I can't even get the 2 kids to do anything for me today. Today was every day. It's like since school started again, they have been. I kind of everyone's like, I wish the kids could go back for school, but school is actually super painful. Summer's actually in a weird way. They're with you all day, but it's almost easier because nobody cares. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
You're still kind of there, and you're responsible. But school, I feel so much pressure to go like, where's your homework? My daughter last night, I think last week's show, she forgot her homework at school. So I had to like call the principal or call the teacher. And then I got the homework from another parent. And then I had to, her daughter had already done it. So I had to take it and then I rewrote it so my daughter could do the homework. And last night's homework, she brought home the homework, but she didn't bring home the book. And the homework was like, turn to pages 265 and 267. And so I had to text the other woman, and she took photos of her kid's book and sent it to me. And so my daughter answered the questions off of that. But all of a sudden, I'm so worried about her grades that I'm like making sure she does her homework. But that's a full-time job for me. I don't want to be a tutor.
No, and you almost have to be. Like, here's the thing. I don't know about you, but I never started getting like homework until like 6th and 7th grade.
Not anymore, dude. 1st grade. She has homework every night, 1st grade.
You've had it and has it in kindergarten.
In kindergarten, yep. She had homework in kindergarten too. It's like, it's not crazy. It's math. I think it's just a way to kind of show them. But then we went for parent teacher night and they were like, well, we'd love you to read with them like 30 minutes a night and then do these flashcards with math stuff on it, which I do. But it's like, I'm not great at a daily regimen. That's the reason I'm an actor and a comic and a host, because I like doing different things every day. Yeah. So I don't have a job from like 9 to 5 where I come home, we do dinner, we do the homework, they take a bath, then we read in bed. That's not who I am. It's not what I want to do. I'm like, every day I'm like, some days I'm into it and I go, yeah, let's read. And we read. And other days I'm like, yeah, I already know how to read. I don't want to read again with you. I don't want to do this every day. And sometimes I'm kicking her and screaming because she's also in 3rd grade and she's supposed to be reading chapter books. And I said, get a book, let's read. And she like takes some baby kid's book. And I'm like, we're not reading that. And the chapter book is hard for her. It's a little bit of work and she doesn't want to push herself. And so I end up reading it. And then I'm like, well, you read this page and then I'll read this page. And then it's like once in a while it's fine, but every night I wish I was better at that. I kind of respect parents who are like that, but it's not who I am. And it's just not what I do. And it's super painful on a daily basis of like.
I am the same way. And I will come up with the most ridiculous reasons that I can't go read. And I read to them sometimes. And when I do read, I do go all in. I do the voices for each character, all that kind of thing. Because you have to.
Yeah.
But it's a production when I do it. Like, it has to be a production. Okay. I remember reading when or I saw an interview with Chris Pratt that like one of the things that when he and Anna Faris were married together and they would read to their child, they would try to outdo each other with the performance in the book. And like my wife can't compete. So Jace just prefers when I read because then it's like a show. Whereas when she reads it, she just like, she's directly to the book. There's no voices. And so I get picked to do the reading, but sometimes I just can't.
No. And by the way, Chris Pratt, listen, I like Chris Pratt. I'm sure he does it when he's home, but that dude is gone on location shooting movies. I would say 95% of the time.
Well, I would be if I'd get hired.
He's not on set. And then like he goes, oh, I got to leave at 6. I got to read with the kids on Guardians of the Galaxy. That's not happening. It's one more time when we like these, it's like, when I said I was reading, what I meant was, the nanny was reading.
Nanny was reading, right?
Yeah. I tried to make my daughter, so I'm trying to make her read out loud. I want her to read out, I said, let's read a chapter out loud every night. She's like, I don't want to read out loud. I just want to read to myself. Huge fight. Huge fight. Took the book, smashed it, tore the pages out, like melted, sat her in the corner. So for me to get her to read like one chapter in the book took hours. And like, I was like, I wanted to put my fist through the wall. And then, in the back of my head, I'm like, why do I care? Be illiterate. I don't give a crap. Why? I'd like, you care, but at some point they beat you so senseless that you're like, why do I care so much?
Well, and I also feel like at some point they have to take the initiative and do it, or it's not going to stick, and then it's on them anyway.
Yeah, and listen, everyone's like, "Oh, are you a good parent?" It's like, well, some kids have come out of like terrible homes, abusive homes where like one or both of the parents are missing, and that kid turns out to go to Harvard and be a genius because they put the work in and something triggered them. And then some kids are like raised by the best two parents on earth who read every night and helped gauge their homework, and that kid went off the deep end. So at some point they have to I tell my daughter all the time, I go, listen, it's your life. I go, I'll tell you to brush your teeth and I'll help you if you want, but I'm not going to sit over you every day and make sure you brush every tooth in your head. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have cavities and they're going to start drilling it pretty soon because you're not taking care of your teeth. That's it. I don't know what else to tell you. It's like a TED Talk. You can watch it, but if you don't adhere to it and put it into your life, it doesn't help.
Exactly. And the other thing is like the standards that like the schools set, they don't take into consideration that a lot of these kids just have darkness in their souls that are just there, and you can't. It grows and that seed is there, and once it starts to cultivate, there's no saving them. And you can be the best parent in the world, but once the dark soul starts to pour out,
bad seed, man. Yeah, and then they become Malachi and they're children of the corn, and then I think a lot of times about like the parents of the kids at Columbine, where I'm like, they were nice parents, man. You see them interviewed, they're like, we had no idea. My kid was in the basement with a trench coat drawing up schematics. No idea. Obviously, you should be a little more, people who don't have kids blame the parents. And then once you have kids, you're like, yeah, I guess a little bit of blame goes towards them. But at some point, you can only control so much. Like, I used to do a bit about my daughter when we took the pacifier away. She had hidden pacifiers all over the house. And she was like 3 years old. And I didn't know it. And we were watching her all the time. She was 3 years old. Pretty crafty.
But they're fast.
But right. So, you think about the like a 13-year-old. It's so funny because my wife will be like, she does this and she does that. And then I go, you remember the story you told me about how when you snuck out and you said you were sleeping over your friend's house and you were going out with some guy who was 25 when you were like 16 years old? You remember telling me that story? She's like, yeah, I do. I go, yeah. And your father is like, he's a maniacal dude on top of you and you got away with that. I go, you can't watch them forever. You try to instill them with some,
It's like Jurassic Park, like Jeff Goldblum in the movie says, life finds a way. Life finds a way.
It's chaos theory. No. They're all, there's no males. And you go, life, it's chaos theory. Actually, chaos theory, somebody should do that with a little water on the hand, but it's not about dinosaurs. It's about children.
About raising children.
Raising kids is like, well, we'll have to have Jonathan Kite on to do his Goldblum or something to do. I think Carlos does one. We'll have to have Carlos come on to do it.
That would be funny.
All right, hey, listen, I gotta go celebrate my birthday.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks, man. We didn't really bring any guests on because it was our birthday show, and I honestly sometimes I don't love interviewing other people. I just want to shoot the shit. So I kind of had a fun time. So this was super fun, and Engvall was great. I think we learned something from him.
Always do.
Yeah.
And like I said, everybody, he's going to be joining us every couple weeks now and dispensing some grandpa wisdom.
And I believe next week we have a very big show.
Yes. Larry the Cable Guy is coming to town.
Yeah, well, we're going to play the whole show in its entirety. And we got a bunch of new big guests coming down the road. So stay tuned. And thanks to everybody. Be sure to like our page, follow us for updates. And then you'll be sure to see when we're coming to your town because we're going to start touring and doing stand-up and stuff. Oh, and my album's out this Friday. So maybe we put a little link at the end. Homeschooled.
Absolutely.
Is on iTunes starting this Friday, September 17th. Just look it up, Jamie Kaler, Homeschooled. And you'll hopefully laugh at the last year and a half I had of homeschooling my children.
And once after you check out the album, come check him out live at the Sayre Theater, September 24th and 25th. The Parents Lounge Live stand-up comedy show coming to town. Brought to us by the kind folks over at the Dandy Mini Mart. Dude, when you come here, I am going to be taking you to the Dandy Mini Mart because the Dandy sub, Dandy Hoagie, is like the best thing ever.
I've heard of them, and that's all my friends from Pennsylvania area are always talking about Dandy. So we'll definitely sub it up. Maybe we'll give away some subs at the show with the whiskey.
Yes, I love it. Anyway, you can follow us at facebook.com/The Parents Lounge, youtube.com/Jamie Kaler, and twitch.tv/The TPL Show. I'm going to throw some links up to our merch. You can buy the Parents Lounge shirts now. And you can follow us on social media. Also, we are on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartMedia, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Check out Tacoma FD starting this Thursday on True TV.
Good night, everybody.
Love y'all. See ya.
We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents Lounge is the cure to staying sane.